What's going on, everyone? This is Vance and this is my weekly show where I talk about everything that happened in the past week. And actually starting off with that, I know I didn't have a show last week or the week before, but that's because the 2 weeks before was Hurricane Matthew and I couldn't really film my show and I really couldn't put it out or film a show. And the last week I had a show all filmed, but then somehow, some way it all messed up and a different video went out. So let's hope none of that happens today, and on with the show. Starting off with nerd news. And the first bit of nerd news is that Rockstar has officially announced that there will be a Red Dead Redemption 2. On Monday, it was teased on Twitter with the silhouettes of 7 people. And then on Tuesday, Rockstar announced it on Twitter and with a trailer coming out on Wednesday about Red Dead Redemption 2. Some fans have already speculated what this new game is going to be, whether it will be a prequel, based on how the last Red Dead Redemption game ended, or what it exactly will be. Red Dead is Rockstar's second most popular franchise, coming only second to GTA, which has sold 15 million copies worldwide. We haven't got an official release date, but we did get an official release on when it's going to come out, and that is fall 2017. My opinion of it, I really don't have an opinion on it because I'm not one of the 15 million people worldwide who have played this game. But maybe I should start playing it, maybe I should start getting into it since Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out and this is going to be a very big thing. The next bit of nerd news is that Robert Downey Jr. said he would like to voice Mark Zuckerberg's AI. In a Facebook post, Mark Zuckerberg said he wants to test out his AI and he asked the people who should voice the AI. What he didn't expect is Robert Downey Jr. commented on that post saying that he would like to voice Mark Zuckerberg's AI. In the comment, Robert Downey Jr. said he'll do it only if Paul Bettany gets paid and he donates it to a charity of Cumberbatch's choosing. What connects this all together is that Paul Bettany voiced Jarvis in the Iron Man movies and he is now portraying the Vision in the Avengers movies. And in my opinion of it, I say Mark Zuckerberg should hire Robert Downey Jr. to voice his Facebook AI. Robert Downey Jr. just has that kind of voice that, you just want to listen to and you want to just hear stories from it. And it would be a perfect thing for Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook AI to hire Robert Downey Jr., either him or Morgan Freeman. One of those two. In the next bit of nerd news, Avengers director Joss Whedon said he would like to direct a Star Wars movie. The last movie that Joss Whedon directed before he went on I don't want to say sabbatical, but he just kind of went into hiding, deleted his Twitter because of the critical response of this movie, was Avengers Age of Ultron. Joss Whedon is also known for directing cult classics like Firefly and TV shows like Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And in my opinion, I think Joss Whedon should direct a Star Wars movie. It's not really possible right now because they already have directors set up for the episode movies and for the spin-off movies, so I'm not too sure where he would fit into that unless a director drops out, like Colin Trevorrow dropping out of the other episode movie, or maybe another director dropping out of one of the spin-off movies. But he should really get his hands on the Star Wars universe because I would love to see his take on it. And the last bit of nerd news, which I am so excited to announce because this guy is my favorite actor and he's one of my favorite people. But Donald Glover will be playing Lando Calrissian in the young Han Solo movie. Donald Glover is the current star, writer, and one of the directors of the FX TV series Atlanta. Donald Glover will be joining Alden Ehrenreich in the Han Solo movie, who is playing Han Solo in that movie. Donald Glover is known for his work on Community and also under the rap name as Childish Gambino. Now, for the people that don't know, Lando Calrissian is the administrator of Cloud City, portrayed by Billy Dee Williams in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. In my opinion of it, to me, this is probably the biggest news story to come out this week. I am a huge fan of Donald Glover, and I am one of the biggest fans, well, maybe not one of the biggest, but a huge fan of the Star Wars series. If you haven't noticed, in almost all my videos I have this, so it's probably a big note that I am a huge Star Wars fan. But Lando Calrissian and Donald Glover is just pretty much a match made in heaven. This is the guy that you wanted to play Lando Calrissian, and Thank God Billy Dee Williams approves of this, because I don't see any other actor playing Lando Calrissian. Now moving on to sports news. In the first bit of sports news, 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick has made his first start in the NFL in 2016. Although it was a losing effort against the Bills, he did make his first start where he threw for 187 yards and 1 touchdown and ran for 66 yards. In a post-game press conference, Colin Kaepernick wore a Muhammad Ali when he was up to speed. Now, Colin Kaepernick's first start did bring a mixed bag of people who supported what Colin Kaepernick did and people who were very against what Colin Kaepernick did. Some Buffalo Bills fans that played tackled the Muslim with a Colin Kaepernick jersey on a dummy. And there were some fans who actually were in support of Colin Kaepernick and actually took a knee during the national anthem at New Era Stadium. In my opinion of it, the Buffalo Bills fan base is a very extreme fan base. I would like to call them the extremists of NFL fans, and they showed the most extreme sides of somebody who is against Colin Kaepernick and somebody who is for Colin Kaepernick. And this is not a perfect example, but it is a very good example of how people feel about this whole Colin Kaepernick situation. In the next bit of sports news, MMA fighter George St Pierre has announced that he has left the UFC. According to Mark Raimondi of MMA Fighting, George St Pierre's UFC contract was going to expire in 2011, and there were talks of making a new contract, but talks fell apart when UFC went to a new ownership in WME IMG. UFC President Dana White said that GSP won't fight at UFC 206, and he indicated that GSP does not have the mentality to be a UFC fighter anymore. George St Pierre responded saying, "Dana White doesn't know what it takes to be a fighter. I know what it takes to be a fighter." He also stated that most fighters leave the company broke mentally, physically, and financially. In my opinion of it, what George St Pierre said was very interesting, especially the last part where fighters leave broke financially, physically, and financially. Because George St Pierre at a time was one of the bigger marketers for this company, and now with Ronda Rousey and Paige Van Sant and Conor McGregor all making this money for UFC, I wonder what's going to happen to them when it's time for them to leave, or maybe when they leave the company and they still have years left in them. In the last bit of sports news, and I really don't want to talk about it, but it's just been one of the biggest news for half of the week. And that is Giants kicker Josh Brown admitted to domestic abuse against his ex-wife Molly Brown. Josh Brown admitted to this in letters and emails and in a journal. On May 22nd, 2015, he was arrested for domestic violence on his ex-wife Molly Brown. It was reported that Josh Brown was physical with his wife when she was 4 months pregnant with their child. In the 2016 NFL season, Josh Brown was suspended for 1 game on domestic violence, but on Friday, Roger Goodell put him on his exempt list. In my opinion of it, I'm glad he finally got put on the exempt list for domestic violence, but it just doesn't make sense how the NFL and Roger Goodell suspends players for domestic violence. For example, Ray Rice got suspended the whole year and was cut from the Ravens for domestic violence of his wife, and Greg Hardy also got suspended for I think 18 or maybe I think it was like half a season for domestic violence on his girlfriend, and Josh Brown only gets suspended for 1 game. It just doesn't make sense how Roger Goodell is looking at all these domestic violence cases and suspending people accordingly, when now the NFL put it into motion that the first charge of domestic violence is 6 games. Now moving on to entertainment news. The only bit of entertainment news that I got, Chris Rock has signed a $40 million deal with Netflix to do 2 stand-up specials. Chris Rock will be returning to stand-up after 18 years on break. Following the stand-up specials, he will be doing a world tour. The last big thing that Chris Rock did was, other than host the Oscars, but he wrote, directed, and starred in the underrated movie Top 5. In my opinion of this, I think I'm going to be so excited for these Netflix specials to come out, even though he's making $20 million per piece on these on these specials, but still, I think it's going to be good to see Chris Rock return to stand-up comedy because he is one of my favorite stand-up comedians. But that about wraps it up for today. But in the comment section down below, share your opinions on everything that I talked about today. The fact that Donald Glover will be playing Lando Calrissian in the young Han Solo movie, Colin Kaepernick's first start, or Chris Rock signing a $40 million deal with Netflix to do 2 stand-up specials. Like and comment on the video, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.